Hey folks, how's it going? Plastic Guy here, coming back with another figure review, and today we're checking out the latest CT Toys Bootleg action figure with their knockoff Mafex comic style Daredevil. So let's start this off by taking a closer look at the packaging here. I really like the comic imaging in the background. I think that looks great. Something a bit different to previous releases with our Mafex CT Toys knockoff Spider-Man. What number is this one? 185. Just a sort of generic city background in the back of the box here. And I think this looks really cool with the comic style instead. The dimensions of the box are very similar to what we've seen before from our CT Toys knockoff action figures. Bringing in the Mafex box as well, you can see that we have been pretty consistent from CT Toys. However, it is a bit bashed up in typical AliExpress fashion. If you are looking to pick this up, I'll leave the link in the description below. Back to the box, I really like the colours here. I'm presuming this is ripped from the official Mafex release, but unfortunately I don't have that in the collection to compare. But a really nice golden brown in the back. We get Daredevil logo. It looks... Shouldn't one of these be more like an L? I'm presuming this is an official comic logo, but when you look here, it looks like it says Daredevil. I know we got mistakes from CT Toys before with their Batman where it said Byman. I'm not sure if this is similar. Let me know down in the comments section. Comic version, Daredevil, action figure, CT Toys. Again, comic logo here. Pictures of the official Mafex figure that they use here on their CT Toys packaging. That pose goes crazy. We get the logo again here, top of the box here. I love both Daredevil logos that they've used, and we see that again on this side of the packaging. We get the figure again, Daredevil 223, bottom of the box. And then last up, we get the back of the box as well, and there's quite a lot included here. We get 3 different interchangeable head sculpts, the different, I was going to say batarangs, but the billy clubs. Also interchangeable holsters for the billy clubs, which is really cool. You can see more of the figure here. Again, this is the official Mafex release, but this figure is definitely not too far off from what I can tell. And with that being said, let's keep checking out what we get with the figure. We get 2 loose billy clubs with our Daredevil Mafex knockoff here. This one is just a straight up white pole. It ports into the hand, and you can see there is a wee bit of red paint rub on the billy club itself, but nothing too problematic. I definitely prefer the other one with the wee bit at the end here. Oh, saved it from rolling off. Yeah, it's got this wee bit at the end here, and I think that's just a bit more appealing to the eye. Definitely in photographs, having it sort of drooping down, I think looks really cool. I've read quite a few Daredevil comics in my time. I do love the character, but I'm not an expert by any means. I don't know if there's a reason that only one of the belly clubs has this bit at the end, but I do kind of wish we got 2 like this. Let me know down in the comment section if it is normal for only one belly club to have that bit at the end, because maybe I'm just overthinking it. But yeah, I really like the look of this one. Both of them work really well, but I prefer the one with the sort of wrist holder at the end. We then get this bendy wire billy club version 1, which has this hook at the end, and this works really well. Again, for a knockoff, the price you're paying, you sometimes expect the quality to be a little lackluster, but this ports into the hand. The bendy wire is nice and sturdy. I've sort of kept it in this loop in the photos that I've taken so far. I don't want to misshape it too much, but it is very poseable and it does the trick. You can see that hook at the end here, so this is really impressive, and this is one of 2 sort of bendy wire variants. Here's one with both the billy clubs, one on each end, and again, this moves around like an accordion. It doesn't make any tunes, unfortunately, but yeah, it's got that spiral effect, but you can maneuver this around and get it into a sort of whatever shape you'd like. Again, it works really well. It feels really good. For the price point of these CT Toys figures, it is really cool. Then there's 3 different billy club holsters. One's ported into the figure at the moment that we can look at shortly, and then we get these 2 variants. One with the 1 billy club inserted, and then the other with both billy clubs inserted. And I think this is a great option to have, bringing in the Daredevil figure that I've had since I was I want to say 3 years old. I think this came out around 2001 is at the bottom of the foot. I reckon I got this when I was around 3. I would have been 1 year old or 2 years old in 2001. So I'm guessing I've had this since I was about 3. You can see he is completely falling to bits, but I refuse to part with him. But the reason I bring this in is because I have a lot of fond memories with this Daredevil figure. I don't ever remember having the billy clubs. I'd be lucky if they lasted a week. Being a 3-year-old and playing around with these figures, the accessories, interchangeable parts always went missing, and being able to have more of a sort of secure option where you don't need to have the billy clubs loose and you're going to lose them and then the holster is always going to be empty. Having 3 different holsters for this Mafex Daredevil is really cool to me. I love the fact that these are all interchangeable, and it's just a bit of a better option in my eyes than having a loose holster with the loose billy clubs. And yeah, I really like this. We get 2 wide open hands. We get these 2 sort of fighting hands, definitely reminiscent of some sort of martial arts pose. Clobbering time fisted hands. We get these completely flat karate chopping hands. And lastly, a pair of loose relaxed hands. And then we get 3 interchangeable head sculpts with our CT Toys Daredevil here. I believe all 3 of these are included with the original Daredevil figure, and they've done a really good job at ripping all 3 of these off. I do feel like this is probably the worst out of the 3, but it's still really good. The only reason I say that is because the red around the mouth area here seems a wee bit jagged. You can see there is a wee bit of the skin tone that has made its way onto the nose there. And so when I was taking pictures earlier, I did notice that it wasn't 100%, but I'm not expecting 100% from CT Toys, with of course it being a bootleg. I do think when this thing hits the light, the sort of dark areas you can see around the top, at the front of the face there, the paint is excellent, the way the shadows sort of make its way around the head sculpt. The eyes look really good with that different shade of red, and the flesh tone is decent enough. I do feel like with these CT Toys bootlegs, the flesh tone doesn't quite pop the same as the original retail Mafex figures, but you're paying far less money for it, so I'm definitely happy with this overall. We then get this angry expression, and this looks excellent. I do feel like the paint is a bit improved here, it looks a lot more clean. You've got the teeth showing, got those eyes looking mean. This is a really cool head sculpt, and again, CT Toys have done a great job at ripping it off. And then we've got the figure itself with the final head sculpt ported on, the very angry expression to compare it to the previous angry expression. You can see the difference in the mouth there. And again, this one looks really good. I think this one is the best. I think the paint overall is super clean on this medium angry expression. This one, you can see there is a wee speck of white in the middle of the nose, and just going up around the nose, see it does look a wee bit smudgy, but nothing too bothersome. I've not actually noticed that until right now, and I did pose this around earlier on, so when it's a bit further away from the camera I don't think it's too noticeable, but getting it up and close you can see that it's a bit similar to that first head sculpt. It's just a wee bit messy, but again, nothing that's really bothering me. Another great head sculpt. We then get the body mold here, and I love this. Posing this around, it moved incredibly well. The quality in plastic is really good here. I think when we looked at the CT Toys Gambit Mafex knockoff, I was saying how it was really gummy. This isn't very gummy at all. It feels nice, it's holding a pose, and I love the different paints here. I love the sculpted Daredevil logo on the middle. Again, a different shade of red just making that pop, and again, just seeing those shadows around the neck, the way the light hits it. This is a fantastic Daredevil for only around, I think, £15 or something like that. You've got the butterfly joints, and I think my favourite thing about this figure, and we'll compare it closely to the Marvel Legends 3-pack Daredevil. I think this is the closest Marvel Legends figure we have to this Mafex Daredevil, of course this being the CT Toys Bootleg. But what really let this Marvel Legends down for me was the logo. It's a different shade of red, but it just doesn't pop. It gets lost in the costume. There really is not much definition at all on this Marvel Legends. But bringing in the CT Toys Mafex Daredevil, the gloves I should say are different, the belt's different, the logo's different, you've got the holster here with different coloured straps, and of course you've got all those variants of that holster. On the back of the figure, the muscle definition just popping, and again the shoes are a different shade as well, and I just think it looks a bit silly on the Marvel Legends. It all blends into one, whereas you can tell this guy's actually got some boots on. Marvel Legends looks like he's wearing some pyjamas, and so this is why I love the Mafex version, and getting this CT Toys for a fraction of the Mafex price at this quality is a blast. I will say, moving it around, I found in the knee area sometimes it was a bit not problematic, that's maybe a bit extreme, but you would have to sort of wriggle the knee about a bit just to pop it back in. You've probably caught that there, but that was only when you sort of bent it right round. You can see there is a wee bit of gappage there, and you do need to just maneuver it back in. The holster moves around really well and stays on the figure really well. It's just a ball joint there, and that's how you swap those different holsters around. That is another one. I found that the drop down joint at the hip here tends to kind of fall down a bit, but nothing causing any issues at all. Maybe I just needed to give it a good push in there. That doesn't, no, you can see it does still kind of pop out, but hey, again, nothing that's really ruining the figure at all for me. Paint's all good, sculpt's all good, and it does seem to be a wee bit bigger than previous CT Toys figures, so I do think this is 1-to-1 with the original Mafex. We can compare it to the 185 CT Toys Spider-Man and see if it is. I'm expecting it to be quite a bit bigger than their previous Mafex knockoffs. But this just looks terrific. I don't think there's really much more to say. The sculpt's all here, the range of movement's all here, it feels good, it looks good. This is another brilliant knockoff from CT Toys, and before we do compare it to others, I will say that the turnaround on this one has been pretty quick. Every CT Toys bootleg that we've gotten in the past, I feel like they've knocked off figures from a few years ago. You know, we've had Spider-Man, Batman, Wolverine, Gambit. These are all Mafex figures that came out quite a long time ago now. The Mafex Daredevil came out last year if I'm not mistaken, and so this is the sort of newest knockoff that I can think of. If I'm wrong about that, let me know down in the comments section, but I do feel like this is probably the newest CT Toys knockoff that we've gotten. I just wanted to bring my Toy Biz Daredevil back into the mix here because this Mafex CT Toys knockoff just looks like the perfect upgrade to this 24-year-old childhood Daredevil figure. Bringing in a much newer Marvel Legends, we've got the Hasbro 3-pack Daredevil figure that uses the Renew Your Vows mold, and I think that is a great mold for Daredevil. I've had a lot of fun posing this figure around, but I would make a lot of changes before it came my mind's eye Daredevil. I do think he's wearing pyjamas, like there's no definition to this thing, and I think my biggest gripe honestly is the way that the logo just disappears into the figure. I love the Daredevil logo, I think it looks really cool, and you just can't see it on this Renew Your Vows Daredevil figure. And what's crazy is this figure goes for insane prices on the aftermarket. Loose, just for the figure alone, you're talking around £80 and up. For the 3-pack, you're talking well over 120 quid. And it retailed for around 70, the same price as the original Mafex figure. Again, this CT Toys is going to cost you between 15 and 20. And so, I say all that because I don't think the Marvel Legends figure is worth those crazy prices. It is a good Daredevil figure, but you know you're going to get a retro carded release soon, hopefully with these slight differences. I do hope it has more shading to it, I hope the logo is sculpted, and I hope he's got some boots on, or at least a different shade of red around the foot area, because I'm not a huge fan of Daredevil in his jammies with no Daredevil logo in the middle. To get this AliExpress figure for around £15 with the sculpted logo and the different shades of red, and honestly the way the red is popping in the light, the shadowing on this figure with all the definition is crazy. I really do think this is a great CT Toys knockoff, and the more I look at it, the more I'm becoming such a big fan of it. Again, standing it next to this Marvel Legends is really proving that to me. I do kick myself all the time for not getting that VHS 2-pack. I told myself that I had this 3-pack Daredevil, why would I get the 2-pack Daredevil? But that cell shading on the figure looks terrific. Now getting this CT Toys, I don't feel as bad. Going back to Toy Biz, we have the Ben Affleck movie Daredevil here on the left, and then we've got, I can't remember, was it the Face Off Daredevil? Was that what this one was called? We did take a look at it here on the channel with its own review. I love this Toy Biz figure. I do think it still holds up in some aspect, because I think the usual Daredevil is how we imagine this Mafex figure in the middle. I should say CT Toys, but this Toy Biz one is in a league of his own. He's been on a strong cycle and he's looking buff. Again, we've got a nice, well, I say clear logo, but at least, you know, it's clearer than the 3-pack that we just seen. Again, we've got boots, we've got gloves, we've got different shades of red involved in the figure. I do think it is far more interesting to look at than our 3-pack Marvel Legends Daredevil. But going for a mind's eye classic Daredevil, you can't beat the Mafex in the middle here. And again, CT Toys have replicated it very well. Here's our new CT Toys Daredevil next to the Hasbro Marvel Legends Maximum Spidey. And here is our new CT Toys Daredevil standing in the middle next to our official Mafex Spider-Man 185 figure on the left, and the CT Toys Bootleg Mafex 185 Spider-Man on the right. And as I said earlier, it seems that this CT Toys Daredevil is 1-to-1 with the original counterpart, as opposed to these much smaller scale, different proportioned CT Toys bootlegs that we've gotten in the past. And so it's become a bit of a meme in the community, collectors saying, I'll hold off for the CT Toys, and I always thought that was a bit silly, because as I said earlier, most of these knockoff figures have came years after their original release, and I've never really had the feeling of seeing a figure that I really wanted and thought, you know what, I'm gonna wait for the bootleg version of that. But this Daredevil has really made me think about it. I mean, again, this figure originally came out around a year ago, and CT Toys have already brought out their version, which is, I'm not saying as good as the original. I'd still always recommend picking up the original imported action figures, but it can't be far off. The quality of this is just brilliant. Again, I say it every video, but this is a top tier CT Toys knockoff, and I do feel like they do get slightly better with every release. I feel like they're learning from their past, and everything that they're bringing out seems to be slightly improved, whether it be the plastic quality, the quality in the head sculpts. And this figure really brings everything. All these interchangeable parts are a lot of fun. The figure poses around really well and it looks brilliant. This is definitely one of my favourite, if not maybe my favourite Daredevil figure in the collection now. I do want to pick up the Mafex, but it's pretty expensive. You know, if I can get it for a good deal, I think I would definitely go for it. But with characters like this, when I'm focusing on other figures at the moment, I'm always going to be happy to pick up the CT Toys version if it's up to this quality. And again, I'll leave the link to this figure down in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'm going to leave the link to my Instagram in the description below as well, where you can see the photos that I've been talking about taking over there. It'd mean a lot if you can hop on over to the Instagram page. I have a lot of fun with the figure photography stuff. Feel free to hop on over to the YouTube channel as well and just watch any of the other videos that are up over there, any of the other CT Toys videos, because we have taken a look at most of the CT Toys figures, the Mesh Toys figures, and I do also have, is it Superior Spider-Man? Yeah, we've got Superior Spider-Man has arrived. We looked at Scarlet Spider-Man when it originally came out. I think that was the last CT Toys Mesh Toys release, and so we also have Superior Spider-Man to look at, and I'll upload that probably around next week here on the channel. So if you haven't done so already, guys, please hit that subscribe button. If you've enjoyed the video right here, then hit that like button. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I'll catch yous on the flip-flop later. Cheers.